At the beginning of the first day of school in September 1957, we students at Washignton High School were gathered in our homerooms when our principal, Mr. Kluss, came on the intercom and greeted us with, "Here we are, and here we go."
Wow.
And now today, 68 years later, we, the class of 1960, are pleased to welcome Sandy Phillips Stevens from the class of 1958.
Thank you so much. I've had a delightful time being here last night and today with so many of you. Steve asked me if I would mind being introduced and speaking today because I am the moldy oldie of Washington classes. I was in the first graduating class from Washignton High School. And I've been aware of Washington ever since I left teaching here. I taught here for 3 years, as did my late husband, Bob Stevens. And we both taught here for 3 years, and then he went on to Kennedy when that opened, but I went on to be a young mom. What is interesting, however, I think, is not only was I in the first graduating class, but I was, I believe, one of the first, if not one of the first teachers who had graduated from Washington to come back and teach here. So after we both graduated from the University of Northern Iowa, Bob and I both came back and taught here. That wasn't the only interesting aspect of it, though. We were the first married couple allowed to teach in the same school in the Cedar Rapids school district. But only because we taught in different departments. This city and this school district have been so important to us, to me, to my family. And I am thrilled that I was invited by Steve, he wouldn't give up, to come back and be part of your reunion. He's going to tell you a story tonight about Fred Kluss, who was principal when I was here also. So anyway, thank you so much for your kindness and your acceptance, and go Warriors.
Thank you, Sandy. Now, Sandy was from the first senior class. Now we have Duffy Schamberger from the class of 1959. He was in the first junior class. Duffy.
Welcome back, you guys. What a wonderful place to be from, but also a wonderful place to be. My family has been here in Cedar Rapids almost 100 years, and obviously I've been here all those times. There's so much going on in Cedar Rapids. I've got a list of things going on, but I think maybe Mark Hunter is better prepared to tell you. But I want to tell you that Steve Sovern is developing a thing here called Connect Cedar Rapids, which is a bike trail going all the way through the city. And we're building a beautiful bridge over the Cedar River that was the Wilson Packing House bridge. It's a spectacular thing. We have some good speakers here that will give them their shot to you. But welcome back to Cedar Rapids. Glad you're here.
And now, for our mayor, Tiffany O'Donnell, who had 2 daughters who graduated here, and her husband did too. Tiffany.
And thank you, Duffy, for those kind words. Duffy's son Brett was in our wedding, so we go way back.
Yeah.
And Steve, you and I do too. Back when Steve was our one of the voices during campaign nights when I worked at Channel 2. And a former legislator as well. He's kind of a big deal. So thank you. Thank you for the...
Tell him, Tiffany.
I'm gonna. Okay, so thank you, and I wish Duffy did a great job in terms of all that's happening in Cedar Rapids, and I hope you do take a look around. If you don't live here anymore, do take a look around and see all the energy and vibrancy that's happening here. We are growing at a rate that's faster than anybody in the state, and we're gonna continue to hold on to our second largest city in the state as long as we can, and do our best to make sure that this is a place that our kids, grandkids want to come back to for many years to come. It was really the catalyst for me to run for mayor, truthfully, because my girls who went to Wash ended up moving away like a lot of us did, and I just wanted to make sure we had an amazing city for them to come home to, because selfishly, I'm not going anywhere, and I want to be wherever they are. So when Steve told me why you're marking this occasion, it is a reminder of the history that we have, and fairly recent history in Cedar Rapids. I always think of Washignton High School as something that's just always been here. That is a very different story. So I went back and looked in the history books a little bit, and I saw Mark Stover-Hunter here too, so he's going to probably correct me on a few things here. But Lindale Mall, who just opened its doors in 1960. In Des Moines, a guy named Herschel Lovelace was the governor. I don't think for very long, but anyway, Governor Herschel Lovelace. Here at home, we had a mayor named James Meehan. Okay, James Meehan leading the city. And if you turn on the radio, you might hear Chubby Checker teaching America how to do something called the twist. Kind of cool. So then we picture you all here. Sophomores, juniors, walking through the doors of a brand new school on Forest Drive. No traditions, no fight song yet, no mascot, just a blank page ready to be written. And you were going to be the ones that got to do that. And you did. You wrote the Constitution for student government. You chose the colors, the mascot, the alma mater, and you gave a place not just a name, but you gave it a spirit and a soul that I know my husband was able to benefit from, and I, as a mother, have been able to benefit from, raising two girls who attribute much of who they are today based on their very unique experience here at Cedar Rapids, Washington. The story of us is what that spirit has meant for the 68 years. Washington didn't just shape scholars, we know that it shaped citizens. You heard of just a few of the names. You know there are so many more that are very public and also very quietly, privately doing amazing things. My oldest daughter wrote one of her college entrance essays on the unique experience she had at Cedar Rapids, Washington High School. At a public high school where you had, for example, during a show choir trip to Nashville, Tennessee, we had some kids who would fly privately home with their parents. And then we had kids taking the bus with the rest of our kids who really weren't even sure where breakfast was going to come from the next day. And these students all meshed together. Differences were celebrated, honored, even revered here at Cedar Rapids, Washington. You wouldn't see flashy cars in the parking lot. You wouldn't see flashy clothes necessarily. This was a place where everyone was celebrated and met where they are. And I have to think that you were a part of weaving in the fabric that is, the DNA of Washington High School. And so for that, again, selfishly, I thank you, because my kids are who they are because of that. I see an applause.
Yeah.
Go ahead, give yourself an applause. The reunion certainly, I hope, isn't just a chance to look back. That is certainly so fun, but I think it's also a chance for us to kind of remind ourselves of where we've been and showing the next generation that the best traditions aren't just frozen in time. They need to stay alive. They need to evolve. And there's some pretty cool ones still happening here at Washignton High School. So I hope you get a chance to see the kids in action, because they're pretty cool. And that has never changed. So to all of you here today, again, from a grateful mother, a grateful wife, and for the purposes here, a grateful mayor, thank you for laying the foundation for what is still a tremendous school.
Next will be our superintendent, Dr. Tawana Grover, who's been here 3 years now. Welcome.
Thank you so much for this great honor, for sharing your stories as well as the happenings. Just recently, I had the opportunity to be with a group of Midwest superintendents, and they asked me to talk about what it's like to be the superintendent in Cedar Rapids. And so, Duffy, as you mentioned, I talked a lot about our city and the things that we've overcome and the progress that's happening here, and what an honor it is to be able to be part of the city and a part of what's happening in Cedar Rapids Community School District. I'm from down south, Alabama, that's that accent that you hear. And what's great about it is how community comes together and the traditions that exist. And I feel right at home here in Cedar Rapids because of that very foundation. And so I say to you, on behalf of the Cedar Rapids Community School District, what a day it is to be standing in this moment with you, where we have an opportunity to kind of go back over the history and the legacy and many memories. I wish I was at the DoubleTree with you to hear some of those stories, Steve, that's going to be told later today. And so we look at how all of this is woven together right here in the halls of Washignton High School. It's been fascinating to learn about Washington's history. So 68 years ago, as you think about being sophomores, I wondered about that and that energy and that spirit and how we can keep that going today with no blueprints, no guidebook, no superintendent or anyone else telling you what to do. You decide to figure it out, and that's why the voices of students, they were important then and they continue to be important now. And so I just imagine, so what did you do? You built, you laid a foundation, one that we're still standing on today. And so when you were attending school, you gave Washington its heartbeat, and one that is still very strong today. If you meet anyone, whether it's a former parent, a student, anyone with any association of Washington, you leave with a different type of energy after being in their presence, because they believe in being a warrior. And so when you think about that type of vision that you had, it took courage. It took courage to start something new. We didn't know how it would turn out. It took courage to be able to build an infrastructure, not knowing how it would be standing many years later. Well, I am here to attest that the infrastructure that you built then, it is still having a positive impact to us. So look around, look at what you've done. You created these traditions that carried through 7 decades. You prepared generations of warriors that came after you. You walked into these halls as teenagers with hope, but you have returned today as elders with wisdom, carrying the proof that education, that it changes everything. So just as the class of 1960, you built a foundation for those who came after you, we are still building on that foundation. If you look outside, you see the construction that's happening, where we too are carrying forward a vision of excellence, of people that's going to make a difference in this world. As we think about college and we think about careers, and as our mayor mentioned, we think about great citizens that will be a part of our city as well as our country. You have helped us to understand that if we put our mind to it, we can indeed be unstoppable. The class of 1960 said it best when they established their donor fund. What that said to us is that we believe that we can make a difference. We believe in the power of education. We believe in the promise of young people. We believe in the foundation that has been laid. So think about it. As we come together, alumni, you've shown us the way. You have gathered us here as a moment where we can look back and we can take into account the impact of great minds coming together and building on this foundation. So I say to you, let us lead forward, because indeed, here we are and here we go. Let's go, Warriors.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Grover. And now, a newbie today is the new principal, is Teresa Hall. And we're glad to have you here. We'd just like you. She said, do I have to say anything? And I said, well, say something.
So yeah, I didn't know I was gonna have to say anything because I was just told you need to show up at 1 o'clock and be here, and I do what I'm told because I do respect my elders. But no, seriously, I am really excited to be the new principal and watching your faces as you walk down the hall to see all of the groundwork that you laid made it possible for me to be here. When I went through the process of interviewing and applying, and this was the only job I applied for, I was gonna keep doing this other thing I used to do. But at the end of the day, I didn't think I got the job. And my best friend said, well, how do you feel? I said, well, if I don't get it, it's okay, because I got to spend the day with some cool kids, because I ended the day with the children. The children here are amazing. They energize me, and you guys are part of laying that tradition and foundation. I just found out about how do you say it again? Here we come? Here we are. Here we go. And here we go. I like that.
Yeah.
That might come back. I like that. Here we go. Say it one more time. Here we are. Here we go. Yes, I like that. But it is always a great day to be a warrior.
Yeah.
It is indeed a great day to be a warrior any day. And our final speaker today is Cindy Garlock, who is the president and director at large of the school board.
I apologize, I have a little laryngitis, but I didn't want to miss this event. So yes, I'm Cindy Garlock, president of the Cedar Rapids School Board. Sandy was telling a story earlier, and I had just related a story to our mayor. I was a teacher in the district also, way back in the day. I met my husband in one of my teaching jobs in my early career, and the year after we got married, my principal called me in. It was in the early 80s, and it was a farm crisis, and funding was slow, and teachers were getting let go. And my principal called me in and said, well, Cindy, you just got married. Don't you want to have a family? And wouldn't you be happy with a part-time job? So I guess there was progress from Sandy's day to mine, because we actually did teach in the same department. So that was progress. But I said no, I didn't really want a part-time job. I wasn't quick enough to suggest that he ask my husband that same question. So the end of that story is that I did get transferred to another school. And it all turned out fine. I loved my new position, but yeah, times have changed. We're really happy to welcome you here today. You original students at Washignton High School, you come here with memories, but you also come here living examples of what's possible when you leave this building. I know that some of you have gone on to do great things. Many of you have wonderful families, but you have come back because you appreciate the grounding that you got here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at Washignton High School. As board president, I want to also thank you for the donor fund that you set up through the Cedar Rapids School Foundation. That gift is more than just a financial contribution. It's a reminder to our students today, we have 2 student representatives, that traditions and innovation live on. You may have graduated 65 years ago, but your traditions remain strong, and your ties to this building and this school and this district remain strong. This is a place where you had dreams, where you had aspirations, you had opportunities, and you went out and you pursued those. And that's a shining example for our students who are represented here today. In this district, you may have heard people say today, our motto is every learner future ready. That goes beyond just what's happening in our classrooms today. It includes the traditions that you started 65 years ago, when you determined the school song and the alma mater, and you started the surveyor. That's all part of our mantra of every student, every learner, future ready. So to our current warriors, I say, the traditions you inherit today are once just ideas, dreamed up by students just like you. The legacy you build now will inspire students in these same seats many years from now. To our alumni and to our guests, thank you for believing in this school, for investing in its future, and for modeling the lifelong impact of a CRCSD education. Your presence today makes this celebration truly special, and it reminds us all of the power of a shared legacy. So, Warriors, welcome home. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And now I'd like to recognize the members of our reunion committee. Barbara Durr Drexler, would you stand, please? Bill Hudina, Jim Klinger, Byron Thompson, and Gary Zaleski, who's not here today. And last but not least, Steve Sovern, who is going to present our check to the school. Steve.
Thanks, Jim G, and special thanks to all of the dignified Cedar Rapidians that have joined us today. And I'd like to point something out, particularly in light of the story that you told, Cindy, about the question you received when you were going to be employed. Do you notice the leadership?
Yes. Yes.
All women.
Yes.
From mayor on down. So
Yes. Yes.
And the new leadership of this school, women.
Yes.
So as a menacing species, I do have to add to the story of here we are, because here we were in our homerooms, and this was the first moment of the first school that we attended as high school as sophomores, and we were kind of nervous. We weren't sure what was going to happen, and an intercom system. Can you imagine an intercom system in a school? It began to crackle. And suddenly we heard a voice. It was the dulcet tones of Fred Klaus, who intoned, "Here we are, here we go." And then it crackled again. And then it went blank. And it was silent. We were all fidgeting in our homerooms. It probably 5, maybe 10 minutes. Seemed like an eternity. The crackle came back. The microphone came back and it was quiet. "Here we are, here we go." So it was a bit of a stutter start. As we've all pointed out, we got it going. I remember sitting in the seat with that young lady over there, where she was, as we wrote the Constitution for the student forum. We had a constitutional convention, so we got a taste of what it was like to form a government. And so to be on the ground floor of a new high school was a great thrill, and as been mentioned, all the elements of a new school that we had a part in making. Now, we have a lot to be thankful for to this group of people who is representative of 500 students who were in our class. A diverse school like Washignton has always been, and we welcome that diversity, which has only grown and only improved since that time. We wanted to make this accessible for folks, so we asked these class members if they would be willing to participate in gifting the foundation for 2 things. One would be to be sure that everybody could afford to come to this reunion. And the second thing was to leave a mark and to help future students. This group, and many of the folks who couldn't be here, There are many Washington warriors that I've heard from. I can't tell you the thrill of being the communicator with all of our friends from the past who would write wonderful notes about what it was like to be here, what it meant, and oftentimes it would come with a check from $25 to $500 to $1,000. So $10,000 has been raised. Half of that has gone to make this accessible, and half, Gigi, where's the, there it is. We actually have a check. This is negotiable. This is a negotiable check. And we have two very special folks that are come up and receive this, and they might even say a word or two. But first is Harper Peace. You're
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
You're the president of the Student Forum, and Marley Feller. Would you come forward and receive a $5,000 check, and there's going to be more. You get the balance of the whole account. We're not doing this again.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming. I'm the student body president, and it's really good to see all of your guys' faces, to see how much things have changed and how much you helped our school become what it is. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and thank you for being here. Hello, I'm Harper Pease. I apologize, I'm a little under the weather. I'm the junior president, and I just once again kind of want to reiterate what Marley said. Thank you so much. It has been a blessing to see you all, and we appreciate your time and the efforts that you put into our school. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Go Warriors.
Well, this has been so much fun, and I'm sure that everybody is excited for the evening. We will take you back to the hotel, let you take a little bit of a nap, and then we will gather again at 6 o'clock for the banquet. But we're so grateful each and every one of you took the time and the effort to be here. It's made it all so worthwhile. And remember, this is our last planned reunion until some of you all want to plan another one. Thank you.